guys, it's Robin, and today I'm reviewing a book called The Jawbones by Holly Black for ActOutGames Book Club. I just finished this book yesterday. I listened to the audiobook version read by Nick Podell, and it was so great. It was about 5 hours listen, and one of the things that made me pick the audiobook is that I like Nick Podell. He read Will Grayson by John Green. He's one of the readers in R.J. Palacio's Wonder. He also read a book I really love called How Star Wars Conquered the Universe. I'll put all the info down below to Presley's review and Presley's book club event information. I haven't actually watched Presley's review yet because I figured I wanted to go into this fresh this month. So, and I actually wrote down some notes. The Jawbones is a really great adventure story. It will make you think twice about your toys, guys. But no, it's kind of creepy, which I liked. I liked reading a lot of creepy stories when I was a kid, and I don't really anymore. But when I was a kid, I read a lot of like Christopher Pike and I Know What You Did Last Summer and books like that, and they were super fun. And it's a creepy story about these 3 kids, and what I like about it too, Penny is playing with her toy. It's an unusual dynamic that you don't see a lot in books. It's a boy named Zach and his 2 friends, Poppy and Alice, and you don't usually see like the 1 boy 2 girl dynamic. It's usually 2 boys and 1 girl, like in Harry Potter or Percy Jackson and so many other stories. It's never 2 girls and 1 guy, which I really like that dynamic a lot. That's a dynamic in I had a sister and a brother, so there was 2 girls and a boy in our family. So these are friends. They're about 12 years old, and they still play with their action figures and make up these awesome adventure stories, which I found so cool. I mean, I never played anything so elaborate. I mean, it was almost to the level of like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of game. They just had like these characters, a pirate and a thief and mermaids, and then there was this doll queen, which was like this a creepy porcelain doll that the Poppy's mom had locked away in a cabinet that they weren't allowed to touch, but she was the doll queen in all their stories, and she was kind of commanding them to go on these quests. So that was really cool, and I enjoyed like the story within the story, and I like stories where kids go out on like a kind of last hurrah kind of quest and go out on an adventure, like Goonies. That's what it reminded me of a little bit. Or like Percy Jackson, they go on a lot of cool quests, and it reminded me a little bit about that too. And this was a really cool adventure because you don't know really if the story is real or not. Like, because Poppy, see, well, I guess I'm gonna spoil things for you. So one day, Zach comes home and his dad threw out all his toys, and his dad had just moved back in. They didn't get along well. His dad threw out all his toys because he thought he had to grow up, and I hate that kind of feeling. That is the worst. I hated when my toys went missing or something. So sad. It makes me sad thinking about that. So Zach, right? Yeah, Zach, like, he all of a sudden, instead of like telling his friends what happened, he just cuts them off, and it gets really awkward. So then one night in the middle of the night, the girls come to his room and tell him about this whole story about how the doll was really this ghost of a girl, and they go on this big quest. So you don't know if it's real, but things that are weird keep happening. Like the doll keeps moving around, or they're out camping and their site gets wrecked, or like they're a way to get somewhere and all of a sudden there's a boat or a bike. So you keep wondering, is it magic? Is it a ghost story? Is it coincidence? It's all up in the air, but it's very cool, and I really enjoy that. Because it's just mysterious and vague enough, but really super well written. Holly Black also wrote the Spiderwick Chronicles, which I've heard are really good books. I have not read them. But I really, like I said, I loved how I thought the characters were very real. Poor Zach. He reminded me a lot, his anger issues reminded me a lot about Harry Potter when he gets really angry, like in some of those middle books, like 5 and 6. And, you know, because he's a teenager, and being 12 is so hard. And I feel for you kids who are 12, because it was so hard for me being 12. It was one of the hardest times of my life as a kid. When I was 12, I left one school and started a new one because I was being really bullied, and I had to make all new friends, and it actually worked out really great for me. So I'm hoping things work out really great for Zach and his friends, and I think they will, because it seemed like even though they might not be playing with their toys anymore, they're still going to be friends, and they're going to be telling stories and sharing stories and having really great adventures. And I thought that was really cool. And, you know, this book is really about growing up, and there are a couple things that really struck me, like Zach at one point says, you know, what if growing up is finding out that all those stories are not true? And that just made me so sad, because it kind of sometimes is. But you don't have to let it be that way. You can still have fun, and you can still, you know, believe in fairies or Santa Claus or doctors or whatever you think is real can be real to you. And that's how I think as a grown-up now. When you're a kid and you think you have to grow up, well, you really don't. It's silly. I don't know who came up with that idea. That is like, yeah, maybe you have to get a job and things and be responsible, but you should still have awesome fun. That is what I think about growing up. There was another quote that really disturbed me from the little girl Poppy. She said she was getting upset because the kids were fighting and they're growing up and they're changing, and she said that growing up was like dying, and it doesn't have to be. So if you guys are going through that, this is a great book to read. And you know, it might be hard for a while, but things get better. I promise they do. And you make new friends, or your friends might change, but there's more awesome people out there. Or maybe you'll get an awesome dog like I have here with Penny, who's like right over here. Or you discover a cool show called Doctor Who that lets you have really great adventures in your imagination. Or you can just keep reading really cool books. But yeah, I really, really like this story. Like I said, I like the creepy factor. Like, dolls can be really creepy, can't they? Porcelain dolls. When I was a kid, my neighbor had a doll collection, and it was all these like really creepy porcelain dolls, and she had a whole room full of them. And she invited me over once to see them, and it was so scary, let me tell you. So when this doll in the story, the queen, is like doing weird stuff, I'm like totally creeped out by that. And it was such a good story too, like how she had like a backstory that her ghost was this little girl who got killed by her father, who was like who turned her into a doll, and it's just crazy, but it's awesome. And like I said, I'm sorry for all the spoilers, but I'm not sorry, because maybe you already read this book. But it was great. And I can't thank you enough, Presley, for recommending this. I really, really enjoyed this. This might be my favorite book from the book club so far. I really like the Familiars a lot, though, too. All your choices are awesome, Presley. So you guys should check out Presley's channel, check out her book club, and read along. Let me know what you are reading right now. Comment down below and let me know what you're reading. Oh, one more cool thing about this book. At the end, they'd say, thanks to our producer. And the producer is a guy I went to high school with, so I have a 6 degrees of connection from this book. So yeah, make sure you like this video and subscribe and follow us and follow Presley. And keep being awesome, guys. And read a book. Books are free. See you again soon. Bye!